Old Alabama gardener, and today I'm busy potting up tomato plants that I have grown from seed. Well, folks, it's getting to the time of the year when I start thinking about growing my garden. And part of my gardening work is to grow some of my own plants from seeds. Now, I don't have unlimited space under my grow lights, so I have to juggle things around and move plants into bigger pots, start them out in some kind of small container. Once they grow out a little bit, then move them into another pot, and keep on doing that until I can actually set them in the ground in the garden. Now in this video, I'm going to show you my tomato plants that I have grown from seed. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab them here in a second. And then I'm going to show you the first potting up. So let's look at the tomato plants. Now, these are grown from seed. I started these seed on the 3rd of February, and today's the 16th of February, so roughly 13 days. And so these are about 2.5 to 3 inches tall, and they're ready to go into the next pot, which I'm going to do in this video. Now, I like to reuse as much as I can in my gardening and here on my place. And so for my potting up today, and this is because these tomato plants are pretty small, I'm going to use this kind of a water bottle. Now, some water bottles have ridges on the inside, and of course that's to help strengthen the bottle. But for what I'm wanting to use it for, this one that's smooth on the inside is much, much better. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you how I cut this in a moment. And then when we plant something in here, because it's smooth on the inside and we get ready to take the plant out, we'll be able to turn it around and it'll come out of this bottle much easier than the kind that has the ribs on it. So I want a smooth inside bottle for my first potting up of my tomato plants. Now I kind of like to have a kind of straight edge around the top of my bottle. So, and it's hard to see like it is. So I'm going to use a Sharpie, and I'll mark right on the top edge of that label, and that's going to give me a pretty straight line around which to cut on this bottle. Pretty much what I want to do is starting up there just about what is called the shoulder of the bottle. I want to cut that part off. Now I'm going to mark my bottle about 1 inch up and about 3 places around the bottle, and that's where I'm going to cut a little bit of a drainage hole. Show you that in just a few minutes. Now you don't need much of a drainage hole. We're going to have 3 of them. So what I'm doing is I'm going to cut very carefully a little bit of a V shape in there, and then I'll stick the point of the knife in, as you see me doing, and fold that inner part back inside. Gives me a nice little drainage point, and put 3 of them around here, and this bottle will be fine. Now to cut the shoulder and the top off, it's better if you lay that bottle down. Instead of rotating the knife around the bottle, you hold the knife steady and you turn or rotate the bottle. You'll be able to cut a much straighter line doing it that way. And there is our pot for a single tomato plant. Now the potting mix that I'm going to use is damp. It's not drippy or soggy. You cannot probably squeeze water out of it, but it's pretty damp. Now first, I'm going to put about an inch or so of potting mix in the bottom of the bottle, and then I'm going to use the handle end of a screwdriver to actually tamp it down a little bit. You see. Now I've been feeding these plants with a Miracle Grow water soluble or liquid tomato plant food, but only at half strength. You don't want to put too much on them when they first come out of the seed. But now, as we're ready to put these into some other pots, they're large enough that we can start to use a granular fertilizer. And of course, you know what I'm always using is triple 13. It's a balanced fertilizer. Got 13% nitrogen, 13% phosphorus, 13% potassium. But I'm not going to put in very much. I'm only going to put in about 1/4 of a teaspoon of this granular fertilizer. And then if you're using some other fertilizer, you need to adjust the amount depending on the strength of your own fertilizer. So now I'm going to add a little bit of fertilizer. And it doesn't look like very much, but this is a pretty small pot. So you can always add more fertilizer later. And if you add too much right now, you could burn your plant and kill it. And now I'm going to fill the bottle on up with potting mix, probably just maybe about halfway, because I want the plant to be down there kind of deep. Now I have also watered the tomato in that tray so that soil is also moist, and that's going to do a couple things. That's going to help the soil stay on the roots of the tomato plant as I pull them out, and it's going to reduce the transplant shock. Now I actually wanted that to be a little bit deeper, but this is my first one, so we'll go with this, and then we'll not put as much soil in the next bottle so that the plant will set down a little deeper. Now you're going to see me pinch those little side leaves off, and those aren't true leaves anyhow. Those are the little parts of the plant that come out of the seed, and they serve their purpose, which is to grow the plant up to the point where it has its own true leaves, and it can start taking in energy through those leaves. So there we have it, our first little tomato plant potted up. We got one more thing to do though, and that's to water it. And when I do that, you will see down at the bottom, some of the water will start to drip out through the little drain holes that we provided. I'll show you in just a moment. Now you can see the water dripping out our little drain holes, because you don't want the bottle to stay full of water. That's going to kill your plant. I have these plants in the house under grow lights. Obviously I don't want the water running out the bottom on the floor. So I have a 12-quart plastic dish pan from Walmart. They're pretty cheap. There's no holes in it, and it'll hold 12. I might squeeze 13 of my potted up tomato plants in here. And then when I water it, as you see me doing here, it's going to drip out the bottom, but it isn't going to do any damage in the house. Now, you know what I always say when I'm potting up plants: water it well, watch it grow.